Alright, before I even say the title out loud, let me tell you something that still gives me chills. There is a moment on live television where time seems to stop. Not because of special effects. Not because of music swelling in the background. But because a human being, standing under blinding lights, realizes in real time that their entire life has just changed forever. And the wildest part, you can see it in their eyes before anyone else in the room fully understands it. That's what today's story is really about. And listen, before we go any further, I need to talk to you directly for a second, because I've been reading your comments. A lot of them. Some of you have been calling out the drama. You've said things like, "This is TV. It's all staged." Or, "Golden buzzers are just producer tricks to farm views." And honestly, I get it. In a world full of scripted reality shows, generated clips, and fake viral moments, it's hard to know what's real anymore. I felt the exact same way when I first started rewatching these Golden Buzzer auditions. I rolled my eyes. I thought, okay, here we go again. But then I went back. I watched the raw footage. I paid attention to the moments that weren't edited for applause. The cracks in their voices. The way their hands shook. The way the judges reacted when they thought the cameras weren't focused on them. And what I found genuinely broke me. Because some of these reactions, they weren't planned. They weren't rehearsed. They were human. This is the story of the best Golden Buzzer reactions in the history of Britain's Got Talent, and the emotional truth hiding underneath the confetti, the cheers, and that one sound that changes everything. You know the sound. That metallic slam. That explosion of gold raining down like someone just cracked open the sky. But here's the part nobody really talks about. For every Golden Buzzer moment that goes viral, there is a lifetime of rejection sitting behind it. Years of being told, no. Years of performing for rooms that didn't care. Years of going home and wondering if the dream was stupid in the first place. And that's why the reactions matter more than the performances themselves. Because you're not just watching someone sing or dance. You're watching their entire past collide with their future in about 3 seconds. Take a second and think about that. Imagine standing on that stage. You've already convinced yourself that this is probably the end of the road. Maybe you told your family, "I'll try one last time." Maybe you borrowed money just to get there. Maybe you didn't even tell anyone because you were too scared of failing again. You finish your audition, the room goes quiet, and you're bracing yourself for polite applause and a gentle rejection. And then suddenly, chaos. The judges stand up. The audience screams. Someone slams the Golden Buzzer. And your brain can't process it fast enough. One of the most unforgettable reactions in BGT history came from performers who didn't even understand what was happening at first. You can literally see them mouth the words, "What?" over and over again. Their knees buckle. They cover their faces. Some of them laugh like they've completely lost control. Others just freeze, like their body shut down to protect their heart from breaking again if it turns out to be a mistake. And that reaction, that's not acting. That's shock. I remember watching one audition where the performer didn't even celebrate. They just stood there crying, shaking their head, whispering, "No, no, no," like they were afraid if they accepted the moment, it would disappear. The judges had to walk up and physically reassure them that it was real. And that brings us to the judges themselves, because the Golden Buzzer isn't just about the contestant. It's also about the person who presses it. When someone like Simon Cowell hits that button, it means something different. This is a man known for brutal honesty. A man who built a career on saying what everyone else is too polite to say. So when Simon stands up, emotion in his voice, and slams that buzzer, you can feel the room shift. Contestants don't just cry, they collapse. Because in their minds, if he believes in them, maybe the world finally will too. And then there's Amanda Holden. Her Golden Buzzer reactions are pure heart. You can see it before she even presses the button. Her hand hovers, her eyes fill up, and when she finally does it, the way she looks at the performer is almost maternal, like she's saying, "I've got you now." Fans notice that stuff. And oh my god, do the fans have opinions. The second a Golden Buzzer moment airs, social media turns into a battlefield. TikTok explodes with reaction videos. Twitter, X, lights up with hot takes. Reddit threads stretch for thousands of comments dissecting every second. You'll see comments like, "That reaction was fake, no way they didn't know." And then right under it, someone else fires back, "Look at their hands shaking. You can't fake that." Someone posts a slowed down clip pointing out the exact moment the contestant realizes it's real. Another person brings up the backstory, linking old videos of them performing to empty rooms years ago. One viral comment I remember reading said, "You can hate the show all you want, but you can't watch that reaction and tell me that wasn't real." And honestly, that comment stuck with me. Because here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Even if the show is produced, emotions like that aren't. And here's where the story gets deeper. Layer 1 of the reveal is what you see on TV. The performance, the applause, the golden buzzer. Layer 2 is the backstory they give you. The struggle, the setbacks, the dramatic music swelling as they talk about how hard life has been. But layer 3, that's the stuff you only catch if you're really watching. It's the way some contestants flinch when the judges stand up, because they're used to being criticized. It's the way they apologize after finishing their act, like they're sorry for taking up space. It's the way they thank the judges through tears before even celebrating themselves. That tells you everything. Layer 4 is what happens after the moment goes viral. The interviews, the sudden fame, the pressure. Because not everyone talks about how terrifying it is to go from nobody to golden buzzer favorite overnight. Suddenly, expectations are crushing. Every move is watched. Every performance is compared to that first magical moment. And then there's layer 5. This is the part that truly broke the internet. For some performers, the golden buzzer wasn't the happy ending. It was just the beginning of a much harder chapter. Injuries, mental health struggles, online hate, the fear of not living up to the moment that changed everything. One former golden buzzer contestant admitted later that they couldn't even watch their own audition anymore. Not because it wasn't beautiful, but because it reminded them of the pressure that followed. Imagine that. The best moment of your life also becoming the heaviest weight you've ever carried. So when you see those reactions, the shaking hands, the sobbing, the disbelief, you're not just watching joy. You're watching relief. You're watching someone realize that maybe, just maybe, all the pain wasn't for nothing. And I want to ask you something, genuinely. Have you ever had a moment where you almost didn't believe something good was happening to you? Where you were waiting for the catch? Because that's what these reactions tap into. That universal fear that happiness doesn't last. Halfway through these golden buzzer moments, there's usually a pause where the performer looks out at the crowd like they're searching for permission to be happy. And when the audience roars back at them, it's like something finally breaks open. This is usually the point in the video where I see viewers comment things like, "Okay, fine, you got me. I cried." And if you're one of those people who keeps coming back for these stories, honestly, it means more than you know. If you haven't already, that's why hitting subscribe and turning on notifications actually matters here. Not because of numbers, but because these stories hit harder when you're here for all of them. Now, let's talk about why golden buzzers specifically hit different than regular yeses. A normal yes is validation. A golden buzzer is belief. It's someone saying, "I don't just think you're good. I think you're special." And for someone who's been invisible their whole life, that kind of belief can feel overwhelming. That's why some reactions look almost painful. Their brain is catching up to a reality they never allowed themselves to imagine. There's one reaction burned into my memory where the contestant drops to the floor, not in celebration, but in disbelief. They're crying so hard they can't breathe. The judges rush the stage. The audience chants their name. And the performer just keeps saying, "Thank you for seeing me." That line wrecked me, because that's what this is really about. Being seen. So the next time you watch a golden buzzer moment and feel your guard go up, I want you to look closer. Look past the confetti. Look past the edits. Look at their eyes. Look at how long it takes them to smile. Somewhere in that reaction is a version of yourself that just wants to be told you're enough. And here's the final shock, the thing that most people don't realize until they rewatch these moments years later. The golden buzzer doesn't just change the contestant's life. It changes ours too. Because in a world that constantly tells us to be cynical, these moments force us to feel something real. They remind us that raw emotion still exists. That dreams still matter. That sometimes, against all odds, someone gets their moment. So now I want to hear from you. Which golden buzzer reaction got you the most? Which one made you pause the video and just sit there for a second? Drop it in the comments. I read more of them than you think. And if you're still skeptical, that's okay. So was I. But some moments, you can't fake. And that's why we keep watching.